Okay. So there was a colleague of mine who used to teach night classes. And one time he said he went to class and he felt like there were chains on his brain. Like his brain was so unclear, like it's like there were chains on it. And then he realized at the end of the first hour that he forgot to drink his 2 big cups of coffee. And I'm saying this because today I feel like I have chains on my brain. In spite of the huge chai tea I drank, I don't know what is happening to me, but my IQ is the best with the chains. Maybe you will inspire me, but I'm not feeling very bright. Yeah, I was reading your things and I was like, I had to concentrate. Like, it's like I had to reread 3 times the same thing. What are they saying? Yeah, I was like,
was it that bad?
it's really bad. Yeah.
Frustrated at your
I'm like,
I tried.
it's me, not you. So, okay. So here's a plan, what I want to try to do today. So I want to get through the secrets to lasting love, which are important. We need to get through that based on a particular passage. And then I want to go into what, of course, what we'll learn from that existentially, but then why is the text in the canon? So now we can answer at the end of today, why did Rabbi Akiba decide this is the Holy of Holies? We're going to look at that. And then the mystical interpretation, we have to do a little bit of that. How do we read the text on the deeper layer, right, on the deeper level as the love between God and humanity, right? Because we can learn a lot from these characters and we can flip them. And it's very interesting to see when we make God the woman or God the man, what different visions we have, right, of God. Okay, but first of all, let's go into the secrets of lasting love, which you will need at one point for sure. Everybody, right? So we did the art of seduction last time. Now you know how to enter the situation, but now it's not enough to enter the relationship. You have to also keep it going. For this, you need a certain amount of skills, which we find here in the text. So it's interesting. Gabriel Marcel talks about, he has a really interesting concept when it comes to lasting love. He talks about creative fidelity. Write this on the board. One day you study Marcel. This will pop up. So the idea that lasting love, you have to be creative. You can't, it's not just gonna happen. Has to go into the relationship, right, for it to last. Irigaray talks about, let me write her name. She talks about the labor of love, right? So this is Marcel. All of them, right, are admitting that it's not, right? The flame is given to us in the beginning, but keeping the flame, that's our job, right? So in a way, nature gives us the initial spark, the initial attraction, the initial eroticism, but then we have to keep that flame alive. And this takes skill. So Irigaray, can you read this? Hieroglyph here? No. Okay. Irigaray, she talks about the labor of love. So I wonder what is the French word she uses. I don't like that word labor. And yeah, and it's labor. I don't think that she's, I would have to check.
I
Yeah,
thought you spoke.
I do, but I don't know how it's in the French. Yeah, I just read the translation. So okay, but right, there's something that has to be, we are keepers of that flame. It's not, the flame is given to us. You cannot make someone fall in love with you, right? You cannot provoke that. That's a gift. But once you have that energy and that chemistry, there is a task that remains to protect that flame. And this is what we're going to learn today. So, okay, so let's look at the text. We are in this situation where their love is in danger, right? And I found this drama, right, by looking at a passage which repeats 3 times. So we're going to look at that. And as I was exploring this passage that repeated 3 times, I noticed certain discrepancies, interesting evolution. And then I was like, this is what this is about. Okay, this is what's going on. So we're going to see what she does as her relationship is endangered. What does she end up doing? And how can we then learn from her in terms of our own relationships? So, good. So go to 2:16. I didn't bring my huge Bible, but can someone read 2:16 for me?
Leviticus 9 and 9 does.
Yes, very good. Okay, so first, think occurrence. chapter 2, verse 16. Actually, it's beautiful passage, right? My beloved is mine and I am his, which is engraved on wedding rings in the Jewish tradition, right? They actually, this is very special passage, and it's like, oh, it's beautiful, right? My beloved is mine and I'm his, right? And then, of course, we see him the next scene, and he is browsing among the lilies. And so I used to read this passage and be like, oh, that's beautiful. He's in a field of flowers, like probably thinking about her, maybe picking the flowers for her. I don't know. And there he is, right? So gorgeous, such a beautiful pastoral vision. And then I was reading this with a male friend of mine, and he was like, you don't see what's happening? And I'm like, no, what? He would. And he had to spell it out. And I was like, oh, come on. So what did he see? What did my male friend see in that passage that I was like so caught up with the beautiful pastoral scene that I didn't see? Yes.
We're shopping around.
Exactly, right. The lily in the context of the Song of Songs is usually used, this metaphor used to describe her. So if all of a sudden you have lilies in the plural, now you have a situation where there are other herds, other women. He's shopping around or playing the field, or, you know, maybe on different apps, right? Talking to different people. Maybe he's even straight up unfaithful, but there's definitely, his vision is a little broader than hers, right? She's like focused on this, monogamous relationship, exclusive relationship, and he isn't, right? Okay, so I'm like, oh man. So anyway, so I continue, I was like, okay, let me not give up on this couple right now. So I go to 6:3. Can anyone read me 6:3? Maybe the altar, I wonder if he does the right translation. Can you, Bedel, read us what you have? It might not be. I wonder if you.
My beloved is mine.
You have it. Okay, what's your turn?
I have my lovers, my lovers.
Oh, good.
Raises my
Very good. And the rest of you have the same thing as before. My beloved is mine, right, Suresh? My beloved is mine.
I am my beloved.
Oh, you have that too? What is up with all these good translations? Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. Right. So who has my beloved is mine and I'm his still on chapter 6, verse 3? You have it, right? My beloved is, yeah. That's the common like mistranslation. Right, it's a mistranslation. So let me begin to write on the board what we have, right? So we have so 2:16, my beloved is mine. And then we have the release. 6:3. Now, in most translations, you don't see the difference because in most translations, it just says again, my beloved is mine and I'm his. But in the Hebrew, it switches. It's actually, I am my beloved. So there's a slight shift, which is interesting, significant. And where's the guy? See, where's the guy?
Browsing.
He's still in the lilies, okay? No change. Okay. Now, watch what happens in 7:10. Can anyone read me 7:10? Radical shift in 7:10. Yeah, go ahead, Suresh.
I am my beloved's, and his desire is toward me.
Okay. So again, same formulation. I am my beloved. And are there any lilies? No more lilies. Okay. Yay. Okay, so we have achieved something interesting. And we have this powerful statement, and his desires for me, right? The word again is the one that we have in Genesis 2, Peshuka, very powerful word, which means basically focused desire, right? Desire which is highly focused, it's intense, right? In one direction. That's Teshuka. Okay, now, all right, so we have it, so you can see between the lines, the drama is unfolding. He is, kind of playing the field. She is in a way moving along with this, but there's things she's doing. So that in the end, somehow, he ends up committing to her completely. Now, two of you studied this with me, right? You did, and you too, right? Do you remember? Okay, let's keep you on the margins. Okay, good. So we have this progression. Somehow in the end, he ends up committing. The relationship is saved. My question to you is, how did she do it? All the clues are on the board. You also know the story. So the three of you have to be quiet. Unless no one is answering, right? Okay, how did she do it? I've written everything that you need on the board. There's something she's doing. She's maneuvering, right? what is she doing exactly that in the end ends up salvaging the relationship? Michel?
I mean, like, it seems like the first thing is that she made her intentions to him clear, that she wants him, but then she kind of gave him space to decide for himself if he wants the same thing.
Okay, very good. Number one, she relinquishes control. How do you see that in the text?
Because she said that, like, I'll still be there for you, basically, even though you're browsing, I'll still be there when you're ready, if you're ready.
Ah, so you're seeing, okay, you're seeing, there's other indication in the text that she's releasing and not releasing her grasp. So initially she's very, very, very forceful. My beloved is mine, right? She's that woman who checks your phone and sees and asks you where you were last night, waits up all night for you when you come at 3 a.m. So where were you, right? That's the kind of woman she's initially, but little by little she loosens her grasp. Where do you see that in the text? It's written right there. Who wants to help? Those of you who know. Go ahead.
Where, I mean, in the beginning, it started with my beloved is mine and I am my beloved's, and now either the order is switched or she doesn't say he is mine, she just says I am my beloved's and
Okay,
his desires
right.
for.
She moves from you are my, right, my beloved is mine to I am my beloved. So now there's several things happening as she's flipping from my beloved is mine to I am my beloved. First thing we see is the loss of the possessive grasp. That's definitely happening, right? She's not saying you're mine, she's saying I'm yours. It's a different story. She's not grasping anymore, right? She's releasing or offering, right? So that's the first thing that we learn here is this notion of releasing, right? When you are in a crisis, right? The relationship has gone stale. The relationship is not working. You don't feel the spark anymore. There's no, it feels like everything has died. And their instinct is to rush to fix it and make it happen and, become like strangle the person in, in your desire to fix the relationship, right? The impulse is to control more, right? And that's what most people, when they're faced with potential infidelity, they become more controlling and they make it worse, right? So she releases her grasp. She's like, okay, listen, I'm here whenever you're ready. She creates space, right? For the person to choose whether he wants to leave or stay. She gives him that space, right? Now, there's something else that's happening that another student noticed with the shift from my to I. Anybody else know what is happening here? This is also fundamental part of this releasing the other. What happens when she releases the other to herself? What do you see in the shift from my beloved to I? My I, my I. What's a shift here? You know?
She is stopping from herself. She's going from the selfish to a more giving attitude.
Okay, so we have that definitely right. The move from
It's more introspection.
okay, go deeper even. What's the shift from me my to I? Yes.
She has a stronger personal identity.
Exactly. When you release the other, you release yourself. You find yourself, right? Very often in the quest to possess the other, you lose yourself. When you release the other, this is when you finally recover yourself. In other words, she reconnects to who she was, to who she had lost in her quest to possess. She lost herself. You see what I'm saying? Let me say that again, right? In her quest to possess, anytime you try to possess the other, you lose yourself. Right? She finds herself again. So I want to stop on that a little bit and see what would it look like. Okay, let's apply it a little bit and then we'll go to the other one, the other thing she's doing. What does it look like? You're in a crisis, things are not going well. What does it look like to shift from my to I? What is the first step, concrete step you can take, question you can ask yourself as you realize, as you try to diagnose what happened, right? Relationship, the spark is gone. What happened? Most of us are so clueless when this happens. So it's like, damn, the spark is gone. And you don't even know how, when, what, why, right? Diagnosis, very precise diagnosis here. What happened that she's realizing here? Anybody see it? What's the first thing that went out the window, which is in fact the cause for this? In other words, where did she take a wrong turn for the relationship to go bad like this? Where is the wrong turn that she took that she's realizing now? Ah, yes.
She shifts her focus from her own desires to his desires.
Okay, so first of all, right, first thing that the mistake we make is we try to possess the other and we try to control the other, and the other becomes now our pet, and everything we want they have to do. So first thing that root, right, one of the roots of a stale relationship, you have to ask yourself, to what degree have I been controlling the other? I must now set him or her free. That's the number one question you ask. Before you go to the therapist, before you read any stupid self-help book, you ask yourself, to what degree have I been controlling you or forcing you into a mold that is not you? Because the moment you try to control the other is the moment the flame dies. Right? You're trying to control the other to protect the relationship. You are actually destroying the relationship, right? So that's the first question you ask yourself. To what degree have I infringed upon your agency, upon who you are, upon you as a person? How have I tried to change you and transform you and force you into my expectations? That is the first set of questions you ask yourself. And then there's a second set of questions. What is it? You were on the right track. Who else was captive in this relationship?
Man,
Yourself, right? So very good. Right. Second question, to what degree have I lost my own self in this relationship? To what degree have I allowed you to take me away from myself? To what degree have I shifted my integrity for you? To what degree have I tried to change essential things about myself? To what degree have I lost myself in trying to please you? Right. So you see, you ask the questions on both. Buber said it beautifully, right? The renewal of marriage is that how did he put it? It was so nice. Marriage can only be renewed except by this one thing, that that the two people reveal the you to one another. The you meaning the freed self, right? In other words, for Buber, the origin of the death of marriage is when one or the other has lost themselves in the relationship. And too often, by the way, we compromise ourselves to save the relationship. Again, same thing, right? We lose our own integrity, we lose our identity, we lose our dreams, we sacrifice our dreams, our integrity, who we truly are, to please the other person, thinking we're going to salvage the relationship, but actually we end up destroying it. Because why? If you're not there, what desire can there be, right? Desire, it survives only when there are two free people. That's the thing. If you want to protect the flame of love, you have to make sure that there are two people who are both free in the relationship. If one is trying to control the other, or if you're letting yourself be controlled, that is when the love is beginning to die, right? That's what we learned here, right? First thing, with regards to her letting go, right? She sets him free and she reclaims herself, right? Two beautiful gestures you have to make at that point. Okay, now there's a second thing she does in addition to this, and it's obvious. It's the thing that repeats the most. What is the second thing she does that that is part of the, she's not just releasing, right? There's something else she's doing, because it's easy to release. It's like, you know what, let me release you. Go. I don't want to see you. The hell with you, in fact, right? So it's not that, right? She's not, kicking him out of her life, right? She's doing something else simultaneously. What is she doing? Those of you who knows, you can speak. So in addition to releasing, there's something else she's doing. You don't see it? When someone repeats over and over again, my beloved is mine and I'm his. My beloved is mine and I'm his. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. It's a mantra. It happens 3 times, right? What's she doing? Yeah.
I think like maybe she's just like reminding him that she's still there.
Careful, she's not talking to him. It's
She's not
internal.
talking to him, but she's still saying that like her intention to be with him is still there.
She's not saying it, but what is she doing?
But she's saying like, I'm my beloved, right?
Right, not to him though. There's not a conversation, right? So who is she? What is she? Where is this being spoken? Right? She's not coming to him, be like, I'll be there for you forever, and I just want you to know that. No, she's not speaking to him. Who is she speaking to?
Herself.
Okay, to herself. So what is she doing? What's going on here? How do you interpret this? Is she being naive? Is she being stupid? Right? Well, he's over there and she's over here, reading the Bible every day, waiting for him. No, what is she
I
doing?
think it's to calm herself.
That's the first reaction I had. It's like, I'm just gonna repeat this till I feel better. But there's something deeper going on. What is she exactly? What's the how is this gesture incredibly courageous that she's taking right there to say this? How is she not naive? I guess you could say she's being naive and putting her head in the sand, but
And the connection is not broken, it's still there.
okay, very good,
And that
right?
she's believing it.
Exactly, right? She releases the person, right? But at the same time, she holds on to that possibility. In other words, she gets off the fence. He's not yet clear, right? But she gets off the fence. She puts all her apples in the same basket. She takes a position. Now, it could be a position that ends in complete disaster, right? And there's a risk there in taking a position, even though the other person is not sure of themselves. But this is, I think, the second element of her power here, right? She, in a way, how shall I put it? Yeah, she chooses to place herself in a no exit situation. She's like, I'm gonna commit to this. We'll see what happens, but that is the step I want to take. I'm taking my positions, right? And in doing so, she's creating the best conditions, environmental conditions, right? For the person to perhaps come back. Doesn't guarantee, it's not a recipe, right? But she's creating the best possible environmental conditions for that person to come. Why would that person come back if she doesn't give a damn about him, right? So notice it is an internal disposition, right? She's showing the divine attribute, right, of Emet. This is exactly what she's doing. Emet, which is faithfulness. Right? Now, if she was doing just that, it would be the key here is in bringing the two together, right? If she's just saying, I'm gonna believe in this relationship and I believe, and then she goes to him, I believe in this relationship, you need to stay with me because I believe in us. No, she's not doing that. She's not ending into obsession, right? The faithfulness cannot become obsession and terror and tyranny and stalking the other person, right? She balances it with letting go. It is the combination of letting go and holding on, which is the powerful, how shall I put it? The cocktail, right? The cocktail recipe for success is the combination of letting go and holding on, and in a way taking a stance for the relationship, no matter what. Okay, so that's now. What does it look like concretely to do that? And going now to your question, okay, great, but how long she gonna do that? Right? When's the time that she should step out of this, right? How long you gonna wait for someone to come around, right? What's the limits of this advice, right? So I'm opening it up to you since you're the smart ones today. I have 0 IQ. So what does it mean? How long should one do this, right? What does it mean to take this step? What does it look like concretely? Imagine you're in a relationship, it's not going well. What are you saying to yourself with regards to that relationship? What does it look like to do both of what she's doing here? I don't have a follow-up question because my brain just stopped. I told you today I'm a little dysfunctional. I'm bugging. Yeah, let's answer Michelle's question first. What are the limits of this? Is there a limit to this? How long do you wait?
Well, if they do enter a relationship with someone else, it's better to just cut it off.
Oh, if the
Like,
other person,
for them to return to you.
oh, if they're over there, started
Right.
something else.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy. Okay, good. Right, so the limit would be when so in other words, you're not the one closing the door, they are, right? The limit, they move on. Is the limit like, right? Okay, good, but what if,
But not always.
not always, okay,
'Cause
okay.
I know somebody who, he waited out two engagements.
Wow, wow.
Which
Wow.
knew she was
That's
never gonna marry
dedication.
one, I knew she would never marry one.
or two, and all of them had quite frankly most of my friends.
Interesting.
And number three, then he
He got it?
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, so it can work. It can work. Very nice. Very nice. I mean-
Did he break up the other two engagements?
He just waited. Very good.
And the second one, back when there was an engagement party. when he was
Dedication.
when he was an engagement party.
I mean, what
501.
what courage, right? What courage to do that? What courage to wait out too? I mean, worked out for that. Hi. This looks like stupidity. I agree. She looks naive. I totally agree that on the surface, she looks absolutely naive and idiotic, and you feel for her. You feel pity for her, right? But the fact is, he comes back. So she's not that stupid, right? The fact is, he ends up saying, among 80 concubines, you're the only one. And he ends up, right, saying, love is stronger than that. So somehow this man so she's not that stupid. There's something deeply powerful in what she's doing, right? I know in our culture, it looks stupid because you know what? We are in a transactional culture. If you give me this, I give you this. But this capitalism, we're in a business. We are all business people, right? We live in a business world where if I give you this, you give me this. If you don't give me this, I'm out. I'm going to get this from someone else who will give me this, pay me what I deserve. This is not a transaction. This is a completely different playing field than the business world and the transactional relationship. This is a very different, she is in a way, she's playing the game to the end, right? She's going all the way. This is something as a culture we are incapable of doing. We are incapable of going all the way. And you know what we miss? We miss what we would discover if we went all the way. Let me give you an example, right? There's two things that we miss when we don't go all the way. Imagine you're at winter time. We just finished winter time. And it's so hard the winter. You're like, I'm done. I'm moving to Florida. What are you going to miss? Imagine you leave around the March. Now you're gone. What did you miss in March, April, May?
Trees growing.
Yes. What y'all are supposed to be excited about. Anyone who leaves in the middle of winter misses the springtime. This is what we miss when we are too afraid and too cowardly to go all the way. We are a culture, we do not do it anymore. We put our feet in the water and and then rush out as soon as there's some, wave coming towards us, right? And so we stay forever on the beach, right? And we never really taste the ocean. And what I love about her, right? I think it's crazy what she's doing also. I think she's putting so much on the line. I mean, it's irrational and it's reckless, but at the same time, I'm curious, right? And in a way, I admire what she's doing because it's like, she's going all the way and she will discover what's on the other side, right? And many of us, we don't stay long enough to discover what could have happened if we had stuck it out, right? And that's what we miss. Me personally, I'm going to be honest, I will stay in a relationship out of curiosity. I want to know what will happen if I stick it out. Pure curiosity, intellectual, right? Even it's going horribly bad. I'm curious. I want to know what happens if I do this, right? What happens if I put it all on the line and give it all my best, and what will happen on the other side? So for me, it's really, so Michelle, you asked, when do we leave? My curiosity will always override the need for survival, right? I will always be curious. What would happen if I went all the way like her? She's my guy, right? She seems to open up this dimension that something could happen when you go all the way. Things happen, things shift. And so as a guy, I'm curious. I want to experience it. So just out of sheer curiosity, I would take that step. But it's risky, it's crazy. You risk losing a lot of time. You risk losing a lot, but what do you gain if you, that's the invitation, I think, here. There's no morals in the Song of Songs that you've noticed by now. There's absolutely no morals. What there is, though, is an invitation, right? Imagine what would happen if we all followed in her footsteps. What would we discover, right? What deeper layers of life and existence we would penetrate if we were to put it all on the line. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
I don't know if it was pertaining to this passage specifically, I forgot what you were responding to, but I like the answer you gave during our summer class a bit better, where it's not that you have faith in the relationship because that's the only way you're going to see the result. It could be, even if it was guaranteed that it's not going to work out, you have faith not because you care, not because of the consequence, but because even absent the consequence, faith is valuable in itself.
Oh, I love that. It's even
I
better.
forgot what philosophy you said it was, but they said that, oh, it didn't work out, it's fine because now you're a better
fine.
person for it. You're a
Yes.
you're a better level.
Absolutely, right? So it's not even about the outcome, it's about what can shift within me. What person am I going to become through this experience, right? There's something beautiful in having faith with like no clue if it's going to give you anything, right? The faith itself is beautiful and gorgeous and noble and dignified, right? Especially if you're not sure. If you know, you had some prophetic dream that is going to work out. That's not faith. Faith, the beauty of faith is that you're doing it without knowing at all if it's going to pan out. And that's what makes it beautiful, is the uncertainty. But the faith itself is such a gorgeous action that in itself it's worth trying, right? Because of the person it turns you into, right? The person who does what she did is I don't know, I feel it's like next level person, right? To have the guts to do this, right? Okay, now, let's look a little bit now. You've seen a little bit so just to wrap it all up, right? What she's doing basically, it's an invitation, right? I want to really emphasize the text has no morals. The text is not prescribing anything. In fact, all the rules are broken, right, in this text. Text is simply an invitation to take this challenging journey of love, right? And to do it in a way that commits all of you while at the same time releasing all of the other. This is the paradox, right? You're fully committed and you're fully surrendered, right? It's the combination of the two that I think is powerful here. And right, of course, in our story, it doesn't mean every story is like that, but in this particular story, it creates the best possible natural environment for the other person perhaps to come back, right? This is the idea here. Now, I want to go into, now that you've seen how she functions, now that you've seen, okay, the art of seduction, which was this notion of, right, taking it slow, waiting. Remember, we distinguished, for those who missed it, we distinguished the biblical arts of seduction with, what was his name? Robert or Thomas? Robert Greene's, right? The book, The Art of Seduction, which is very famous. Everybody's reading it on the bus. So we distinguished the two, right? The Greene's Art of Seduction is all about hiding and control, right? You hide yourself so that you can better control the other. And we saw that in the biblical text is the opposite, right? It's vulnerability versus letting go of control, right? And here we have a similar notion of letting go of control, right? Allowing the relationship to take its course. So I want to wrap up the both. I think I'm seeing a constant, which I think if you understand the constant, you will be artful in all of your relationships. The constant I'm seeing here is the notion of rest. This is the true arts of love, right? The ability to rest and to let things happen rather than forcing things. We saw this in the arts of seduction, right? Instead of rushing and trying to make it happen, you are able to make a move, pace yourself, take your time, right? Remember we talked about the guys, right? And let's go to that one again, because that's the guys have the difficult role in the arts of seduction, right? They have to make the first move. And we talked about the subtle way to do it, right? In order to avoid rejection. But too often the man will forfeit the subtleness because they get anxious that they might lose the opportunity. Do you follow me? So you rush into it and you make a big move. Am I correct? And you do something drastic. What we're learning here is that you don't need to do that, right? Because the love is actually something, not something you produce, but something that you are given, right? Love is a gift. And so you don't have to rush and make it happen and be stressed about it. You can pace yourself, right? You can wait, you can go slow, because ultimately it's not in your hands. It's a gift that comes towards you. You are receiving it, right? And it's the same here. When things go bad, you are also receiving the healing. This letting go is allowing the love to go through its dark night. You're letting go. You're allowing yourself to experience this. You're waiting, you're lighting a candle, right, for the love. But at the same time, there's a profound letting go and realization that I can't fix this. So you can't make it happen and you can't fix it. That's the lesson here, right? We have no control over love. There, period. There, I said it. We have no control over love. We have no control over making it happen. We have no control over keeping it alive, right? We, in a way, have to surrender it to it, because ultimately it is a gift that comes towards us. And the best way to receive the gift is to be in a state of restfulness. I'm doing my part, but I'm doing it in a restful way, right? Okay, so now that we have the whole picture, I want us to go into the mystical interpretations. I want us to go into why, first of all, is this text considered to be the Holy of Holies. Okay, remind you, the Holy of Holies is the place in the temple where God resides, presence of God, right? It's the only place on earth where God exists, dwells, right? And of course, this existence, this dwelling of God is dependent on the sacrificial system, right? I think I mentioned, there's a connection. Remember the semantic connection between sacrifice and proximity? Do you remember this? Did we do this? Korban, le karev? No? Okay. Let's do some Hebrew. Okay. Word for sacrifice is korban. Hebrew. The word for proximity is built from the same root is karan. Okay, so you have the same letters, basically, right? It's the same root. They're semantically connected. The word for proximity, le karev, and the word for sacrifice, korban, are semantically connected, meaning intimacy or proximity is dependent, is relative to sacrifice. Do you follow? So in other words, God approaches us when we bring a sacrifice, right? That's the temple context, right? In the temple context, you cannot come into the presence of God without bringing a sacrifice. And when God is pleased with the sacrifice, he fills the temple with his presence. That's the setup. Now you know. Okay, what does it mean that the Song of Songs, the Holy of Holies, what are the connections between what we learned here today and sacrificial system of the temple of Jerusalem? In proximity of God, what are the connections? How is this text actually a priestly text? Not just some poem, yeah.
To get them, so you have to sacrifice, like, control.
You got it. Very good. Do you see how often the sacrificial, how often you can see that in the relationship, right? At every turn you have sacrifice, right? When he decides to pace himself for her sake, right? In the arts of seduction, when she decides, I'm going to wait, I'm not going to push. When she puts when she engages completely without possibility of success, right? She, right, puts, how shall I put it? She, help me, help me find the word I'm looking for. She puts it all on the line, right? This is a huge risk. I mean, she's risking a lot by doing that, right? And so forth. So at every turn, you have this woman, and to a certain degree, the man at times too, you have them developing the ability of sacrifice, right? And this is why only towards the end of the text, you have the name of God, right? When it is mentioned that the love is as strong as death, and it is the very flame of, and then you have the half name, right? The full name is not pronounced, the half name is Yah, right? So you have the flame of Yah, which is the half name of God. This is at the end when the sacrifice has been offered, right? So do you see a little more why this text, right? Because you see at every turn the lovers choosing sacrifice for the sake of the other. Both the man and the woman are doing this, right? When the man is slowing down, when the man is, even when the man is coming into focus, what is he sacrificing? That's a huge sacrifice, by the way. What's he doing when he's like choosing just her? What is he sacrificing? All the lilies. That's a sacrifice right there, right? And she is sacrificing her very self when she says, I'm gonna, lay it all, I'm gonna commit 100%, even if there is no chance of success. Waste, I don't know how much time, right? That's a sacrifice. When he decides, I'm gonna, not awaken love until it so desires. I'm gonna pace myself. I'm gonna align myself with her rhythm. That's a sacrifice. Who wants to do that? Everybody wants to get quickly what they want, like with Amazon and Lyft, and we're used to push a button, boom. Don't you love this time we live in, where I love it. I go like this and car, like this, groceries, like this. Like we are used to instantaneous. Y'all don't have this? No. I'm the only one who's like really relishing this technological, right? So we're so used to immediately getting what we want, right? In the text, this idea of don't awaken love until it so desires is going against every impulse to get what I want now. I gotta wait for the other, gotta pace myself. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. Everywhere in this text, there is sacrifice. And that's why in the end, you have the coming down of the cloud of glory, right? The flame of God. The love has been given this description, right? The love is compared to the very flame of God, right? Are you seeing now why the text is holy? Yes? Okay. Yes? Sort of. Okay. Now that we know that, we are a little deeper into the text. Let's go now into the mystical. Because as we know, the text is also talking about the love between humanity and God. So we know that the text, we don't even know who is the man and the woman. I think you mentioned, I don't know who's speaking at times. It's intentional, right? Intentional because the text wants us to go beyond the gender norms, right? Man, woman, man should do this, woman should do this, man should say this, woman should say this. This is not biblical, right? In the biblical, yes, you have clear sexual difference, but you have gender fluidity, right? In terms of gender roles. Not sexual fluidity, right? But the gender fluidity is certainly occurring in the Hebrew Bible. They alternate. One stands in for the other. And so I want us to look, and we can, and I guess we can decide what we start with. If we imagine, shall we start with God being the man or God being the woman? Let's take a vote. How many of you want to start with God as the man in the story? 0? Okay, one. Okay. Who wants to start with God as the woman? Okay, good. All right, so let's start. We'll continue with them. Okay, so traditionally, though, the text is interpreted as God being the man and the woman there represents the people, humanity, right? So there's a lot of interesting information we can gather there, but let's start with imagine God is the woman. What does God look like here? And remember, you can start making connections with Lady Wisdom. I think Rivera already made some connections like that. What does it teach us about God to look at this woman the way she is with this guy? What? Yes.
So I think of God as a woman, sort of saying that no matter like how far you stray or whatever you go do other things, you forget about me, I'll still like always be there in the end for you.
Beautiful, right? The woman is like, I'm not leaving. God is like, I'm not leaving. Do you? I'm staying. I'm here. I'm not leaving you. Whatever you do, I'll always be here for you to come back. Do you see how powerful? Right? How in a way, when we do that, right, we reflect God into the world, right? We in a way, there are ways that we can embody the divine attributes, right, in the world. And when we choose, whether male or female, either one, right, anyone who chooses, I'm going to stick with it no matter what, you are embodying the divine attribute of emet, of faithfulness, right? You are, in a way, exhibiting this in the world, right? Levinas says it beautifully. No witnesses, no God, right? In a way, God depends on us to exist in the world. If we don't express the divine attributes, where is God, right? If no one is expressing love, no one is expressing justice, where is God? God doesn't exist. That's why during the Holocaust, because there was so little expression of the divine attributes, it felt like God was dead. It felt like God was absent. We spoke in terms of an eclipse of God because not enough human beings were embodying the attributes of God. So when we choose to be faithful, no matter what, we are embodying the divine attribute of Emet. You're seeing how holy the text is, basically saying we can become, or we can express the divine attributes in this world, right? It's very nice. So what else do we learn from God as the woman? We learned there that God will be there no matter what. He's going to stick it out. You go stray over here, there, still there. When you come back, same place, didn't move. What else can we learn from the woman with regards to God?
Well, she has like a very powerful desire for connection, so God has that desire for connection with humanity.
Beautiful. And we don't learn this in philosophy, right? In philosophy, we learn God is the unmoved mover. Aristotelian definition, right? Make sure you write this down. God is the unmoved mover. God doesn't desire. God is the desired. Not so in the biblical context. God is the primordial desiring one, dying to connect with us, right? Running after us in the streets, right? Getting beaten up by the watchmen over us, right? Running inappropriately in the streets after us, right? So there's just like Lady Wisdom, by the way, very inappropriate. She's in the streets yelling. She looks like a mad woman. She looks, in fact, like the foolish woman. She looks exactly like her. God is reckless, foolish looking, ridiculous out there in the street, longing for us, running after us. We're not used to this image, right? We tend to think of God as a dignified old man on a throne, waiting for us to come. And here we have God all disheveled, running in the streets. Where are you? Where are you? I'm looking for you. Imagine to think of God like that, right? Completely different vision. Yes.
I will seek you out, even you will seek out.
Very good, right? God is over there trying his luck with you, even if you don't even have a, you know, a concept of his. Yeah, exactly. So there's this kind of, I love it because she's so like, disheveled, inappropriate, reckless. She looks ridiculous. She's exposing herself, and God is doing that. That's quite a vision right there, right? Of God. By the way, well, we'll come to that story later. Okay, anything else about the woman that you see that gives you a completely interesting vision of God? Those two are good. I don't see another one. Shall we turn to the man? It's also an interesting one. Now, the man is it's a little harder actually. What does it look like? And what can we learn, right? So we're now the woman and God is the man. What does it teach us about God? What does it teach us about how we ought to interact with God? So what does the man teaches us about? What does the man teach us about God? So that one's trickier. Yes.
Man is about patience, dealing with the Lord,
Of what?
dealing with us.
Where do you
man
see
has to-
patience? Tell me, where do you see patience
The
of the
woman
man?
comes over with this giant, like overwhelming presence.
Yes, yes.
And. Now,
Oh, so elaborate, I'm curious, because the man seems to be kind of like standoffish, right? How does that apply to God?
Yes, but-
Curious.
the healthy man, the woman's coming over with a giant overbearing
Yes,
personality.
yeah.
And the man is
Kind of pace.
basically metering it.
Okay, good. So give us an idea. So how does God sometimes take a step back, right? That's what the man is doing, right? We're coming, and God is like taking a step back. How is that a holy, right? How does God take a step back sometimes? What does this tell us? Describe to me what it looks like when God takes a step back or meters our enthusiasm. That sounds intriguing. What does it look like for God to do that? Give me an example.
Well,
Free will of God.
free will of self.
I was liking the free will of God, but go on with the free will of self.
God allows, when God steps
Ah.
back, he allows us to make our own decisions.
Oh, I like it. Okay, good. God takes a step back to create space, right? For us to come to him. The guy's doing that all the time in the story, by the way. He's his master seducer, right? He's always like coming forward and then taking a step back and then coming forward and he's I mean, guys, learn from this guy. He's a master. This woman she's crazy for love because of the guy's technique, right? I mean, if you read the Kierkegaard's Journal of the Seducer, it's exactly what this guy's doing here. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Right? He's a little bit with her, and then you don't see him. He disappears, and then he comes back, and then he disappears, and then now he's pounding on the door, and poof, he's gone. Right? This is actually okay. We can see it as a perverse game, but we can also see as him creating space for her to come in her own time, right? This is the art of seduction we talked about. He's creating space for her to decide, when am I ready? When do I want to respond, right? So God often sometimes takes a step back, he disappears, right? To kind of awaken in us the longing and the desire and the need, right? Nice. Okay, what else? Yes.
This kind of reminds me of how we're talking about how God is like so wild and untamed. He can't be like trapped by a human
Love
being.
it, love it.
So I think about like the woman trying to chase after him,
Yes.
but it doesn't work. It's got to be on his terms.
No, I love it. She's trying to control him. Remember Job? Same scenario, right? Job trying to control God, manipulate God, give me this, give me that, right? Woman is this, initially the woman is like that. She's like, give me this, give me that, be mine, come here, let's go. Yeah, it's incredibly bossy. And the man is like, you can't control me. Don't even try. I will just slip through your fingers. And that's what he does over and over again. He's slipping through her fingers. And this is a painful lesson for her to realize, I can't control this man. I need to let him go. I need to set him free. And we see this in the last verse of the Song of Songs. Do you read it? Somebody read what she eventually becomes, which is glorious. Last verse of Songs. You want to go ahead, Suresh?
Make haste, my beloved, and be thou like to a roe or to a young hart upon the mountains of spices.
Exactly. She's like, go, go on the mountains, right? She sets him free. This is the first gesture is she encloses, right? She encloses him. Second, last gesture, she sets him free. Be yourself, go on the mountains, I set you free. She understands that he is a wild stag and not her pet, right? He's not her bitch, right? He's his own thing, right? And it's so painful for her because she's such a powerful character, right? She's so passionate and she wants to have this guy, but over and over again, he slips through her fingers. And eventually, even though it's painful, she realizes, I can't control him, I can't possess him, and likewise us with God, right? God will elude you. You cannot manipulate him. There's nothing you can do to force the blessings. God will remain stoically silent until you let go, right? And that is what we're learning. God is wild, just like this man is wild, right? Beautiful lesson, nicely done. Anything else that you're learning? So we thought this man was a loser, but he's actually pretty good. He's doing well. Anything else that we learned for the mystical interpretation? That's it. That's all, folks. Yeah.
Just in general, like God is everywhere, there's in the beauty of nature, in the streets, in your home, wherever you may be, you will find God there.
Where do you
And
see that?
God will find you.
Oh, this is like almost the woman, right?
At home. And fire is either in the natural world or.
Ah, yes,
in
I see.
rooms, or in the city or out of the city, but it's everywhere.
Nice. And I like that you
There's no
mentioned,
containment.
yes, no containment. I like that. Let's go to that metaphor of the garden. Remember the mother's house, temple versus garden, right? Remember the book of we mentioned this text is a healing text with regards to the book of Genesis. Maybe we can say a few words about that. How do we have here a healing text with regards to Genesis 3, where you have the woman and the man in this dysfunctional relationship, right? Where she takes over, she takes the fruit, she shoves it in the man's face. He takes it, everything falls into, everything turns to chaos. And then God comes on the scene, he throws her under the bus, right? And so forth. How do we have here, same setting, right? Exactly the same setting as the Genesis story. How do we have here healing text with regards to what we read in Genesis 2 and 3, or Genesis 3 especially? Let's try and think about that. It's the same setting, man and woman, fruits, right? Wisdom, same, right? But very different narrative, right? How do we have here a reversal of the Genesis story? Yes,
Working with each other instead of against each other. It's
I like
a
that.
Real big
yes.
difference.
I mean, notice,
Second stripe hits, right?
is it what?
The second stripe hit in the stripes hit in the Genesis story, they're quick to throw each other under the bus. very
Yes,
quickly.
yes.
In
and-
Song of Songs, they're more working it out, more having a conversation.
Oh,
about
they're talking. That's number one. They're not talking in Genesis. Did you notice? It's they're talking. The only person who talks is Adam. He talks at Eve, bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She doesn't respond. No, and then when she's taking the fruit, silence. She takes the fruit, gives it. No conversation. Now all of a sudden we have this ongoing conversation. That's the first healing, right? They're talking. They're working with each other. There's more of a partnership, whereas in Genesis, everyone is kind of acting on their own. What else are you seeing that's different? That's healing here. That is healing that initial broken relationship that we have in the garden. There's so many things. Like I'm gonna write them down too, as I think about them. How about this one? It just escaped me. My brain is really dysfunctional. Somebody else come up with something while I try to remember what I thought. What else are you seeing that's different? So they're talking. Yeah, here's the one. Remember Eve, how she tries to control, right? Everything. Why does she take the fruit, by the way? What's her motivation? More than that,
control our own destiny.
she want to be God, right? I'm going to be a goddess Inanna, right? I'm going to be a goddess, meaning I'm going to be in control around here, right? Now look at the woman in the Song of Songs. What's the main lesson she has to learn? Over and over again, she has to rip it out of her system because it's been there for centuries and millennia. What? Exactly. The ingrained thing that is in every woman to control is ripped out of her over and over again, is cut out of her by this man who refuses to be controlled, right? And so you have here Eve being redeemed, right? This woman who wanted to be the center of the universe and control the world and rule alone is now forced to relinquish control over and over again, right? She's on her knees. This man brought her to her knees, right? And that's the healing moment in a way, right? Now, that's how the woman is healed. How is the man healed? I'm curious. There's also a healing here of the man. We see very well how the woman, how the Shulamite redeems Eve, but how does the man here redeem Adam? Yes.
Well, when he settles down and accepts the woman for what she is.
Explain. Adam doesn't do that?
No,
Tell me why.
Adam never forgives Eve for her mistake.
He calls her mother of a living. Remember? That was nice. I thought that was a beautiful moment. You didn't catch it?
I caught it.
No? But you still think tell me more about Adam that you think is dysfunctional.
Adam has, right, he has the whole story and then they kind of just disappear.
Yeah.
There's no back and forth after this.
No,
They get
you're
thrown
right.
out of the garden and that's it.
That's
That's
it.
the
They
end of
don't
the story.
still don't talk. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still not talking, they're still not communicating, nothing's changed.
And here?
And here, this woman comes in with a giant strong force. The guy's all the way out there in the field of lilies doing whatever he wants. And then but at the end,
Yeah.
comes over and he settles down. He goes, okay,
So he accepts her into his life.
Right.
In a way that Adam not quite.
never
Is
does.
still that's interesting. That's interesting.
Mother of all life, but not as white.
No, that's good.
part.
I appreciate it. In fact, when she gives birth to Cain, he's not mentioned as usual. I thought it was her fault, but maybe it was his fault, right? He's kind of absent. Here, on the other hand, there is a desire to move towards her that you don't sense in Adam, perhaps. Notice let's go with the word teshuka. This is the main healing moment. In the Garden of Eden, she desires the husband. Here now he desires her. What's going on? What's the healing moment? Let's elaborate I think Epstein is on the right track. Let's elaborate a little more. Yeah.
I think also like in Genesis, Adam is like extremely passive.
Yeah.
Here, he's still passive, but he learned how to balance, like being passive and letting her come in and also being active.
Where's the action here?
Like
Curious.
because he desires her. So like in the sense
Ah,
he's able to let go, and he's also able to approach when he needs to.
okay, I love it. Yes, Adam is kind of very passive, going with the flow. Eve is now, and she's the one, the motor, right? Now he has this strong, right? He's able to come into focus and turned to her, right? In a way that he wasn't, I hadn't seen that. That's interesting. Adam never turns to Eve, really. There's no face to face in the story. There's a kind of side by side. The Teshuvah, by the way, is related to turning semantically, right? So he turns to her and now they are working as a couple. Perhaps this is the redeeming moment where Adam realizes I'm a relational being, right? My life is linked with yours. Is that a hard lesson for you guys? I'm curious. Is that a thing? For you, is it hard to realize you're a relational being and your life is linked to a woman's? I'm just, are you struggling with this or not you? Okay. Is that a hard shift? Is that a difficult transition from,
I feel like it would be hard for me to like share my life
okay, so,
like that. Like I could see that.
okay, okay, anybody else on his, because for us, it's not hard. It's kind of, that's all we want, right? But is it a thing that for men, it's a little harder to share the life of someone else? Is that a thing? I'm curious. Give me some male psychology insights. You can also participate.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why? Enlighten me. This is for us is the most natural, most right? It's like, yeah, what's wrong with why? Right? Why do men hesitate like this to mingle their lives with ours, right? What's the problem? What are you scared of? Tell us all. We want to know. Okay, so right, the control, right? If we are controlling, which we are, we carry Eve, right? So I understand you're right to be scared. Absolutely. So, and the loss of freedom, right? So, whereas, is that how are you feeling this? What's your take on this? Enlighten me.
Possibly, but I don't think, I feel like both people would be afraid of losing freedom because now you have somebody critiquing you don't feel that?
No,
Like,
do you feel that?
what if you're judged for
Ladies.
things that you'd be okay doing on your own?
Do you feel like you're losing your freedom in a relationship?
Guys,
No, but I mean, yeah, once you're with a creep, of course, but before, like, imagine you're in love and are you afraid of losing your freedom when you're in love and you think the guy is a good guy? Because these guys, they're feeling that even the woman's a good woman, they're like, it's still something. Are we, are you feeling like you're in love? Do you feel like, oh, my freedom?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay, all right, Kaplan? No, me neither, right? But then depends on the person. Okay, so you're like, okay, kind of the freedom. Davidovich, no, you cool, you ready. You're ready, he's ready.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Yes, we're coming. Are we done already?
You got
Oh my God, okay, got really interesting. That's what we're coming. Rivera? Oh no, no answer today. Rivera. Suraj, do you feel you lose your freedom? Oh, Suraj is also like Davidovich, ready? Epstein.
I don't know.
You don't very good, very good. So this is perhaps the redemptive moment of Adam here, right? He turns to her and realizes my life is towards you, right? My life is to live my life towards you, mingled with you, connected to you, in partnership with you. That's a beautiful place to end. All right, guys, I will see you later.